A story that's been percolating in the world of sports has been running backs. Let me get right to it. Running backs are getting screwed over by the National Football League. Now, I don't say the National Football League is in the league office. I'm talking about the league itself. That means the league in concert with the Players Association who've negotiated this deal and what have you. And for those of you who don't understand, here's what's going on. So if you're a running back, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how productive you've been. At some point in time, what the National Football League does is look at your birth certificate and they say, hell, you're 27, 28 years old. That ain't going to work for us. And so because of that, you're marginalized and essentially pushed out, not necessarily of a job, but from earning the level of pay that other people at their respective positions earn in the National Football League. What makes it even worse is that, let's take, for example, Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants or Josh Jacobs for the Las Vegas Raiders, who are both looking for new deals. Neither was able to reach a long-term deal with their respective franchises, the Giants and the Raiders, and as a result, they have a choice. They could sign the franchise tag. They could be franchised by their team, all right, sign for $10 million when they think they're worth about 15 or 16 a year, sign for $10,091,000. And they signed those deals, and it's on a one-year franchise tender. They're looking for long-term security. So you sign a deal, and you get most people, particularly quarterbacks, you sign a deal, and you know what? It's for $200 million, and maybe $150 is guaranteed, right? You get hurt year one, but the guaranteed portion of those dollars still come to you, although the incentives may not. Okay, because you have a lengthier deal. But in the case of being franchise tagged, particularly in the case of a running back, you sign this one deal. What if Saquon Barkley goes out there and he gets hurt? He's got no money guaranteed to him next season or the season beyond that. And worse, not only can the Giants or the Raiders in Jacobs' case, respectively, literally franchise tag them this year, but they also have the right to franchise tag them next year. That's jacked up. That's not fair. And so their recourse is to sit out the season. Or you can sit out all the training camp and show up once the regular season begins. You don't start losing money until the regular season begins. But Saquon Barkley is contemplating sitting out and all of this other stuff. It's jacked up. And let me give you a perfect example. So we've got situations here, right? For example, 7 of the top 9 players in scrimmage yards last season were running backs. 7 of the top 9 players who led their teams in yards from scrimmage were running backs. 8 of the top 11 touchdown scorers in the National Football League last season were running backs. Derrick Henry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man that is universally recognized as arguably the best in the game. He has been nothing short of sensational in his time as a Tennessee Titan. We see quarterbacks get paid $200 million. Deshaun Watson got $230 million. We see defensive players making some money. Derrick Henry has made a grand total of $46 million in 7 NFL seasons. Here's a guy who's rushed for 8,335 yards and has scored a total of 81 career touchdowns. And I'm just looking further at some of these notes here. And I'm seeing Joe Mixon, $32.7 million over 6 years. Dalvin Cook, $32 million over 6 years. Kareem Hunt, $17 million over 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is in a league that's giving out $100 million contracts, $200 million contracts. I stand with the National Football League running backs. And here's my suggestion. If they wanted to do right by these guys, if the NFL and the NFLPA want to do right by these guys, very, very simple. You know what you could do? At least take away the franchise tag. At least one of them. How about making sure that they could come into the league earlier so they could start earning money at an earlier age as opposed to being restricted by the same limitations in terms of entering the NFL that other players at different positions are allowed to come into the league. If guys got to play 3 years in college before coming into the NFL, how about allowing a running back to play 1? Letting them come in the league 2 years earlier so they can start making their money 2 years earlier. So you can't look at them when they're 27 or 28 years of age. Or so you can look at them at that particular moment in time and say, okay, that's fine. Where other guys get to be in their 30s before they're considered over the hill. You're labeling guys over the hill in their late 20s, even though they're showing a level of productivity. It ain't right. It ain't right.